Alrighty, back at it. The Galileo 7 by AMT. I believe this is the second installment on the release of this kit. The original was a horizontal box configuration. This is the vertical S959. So the last video I did on this was the nacelles, basically mounting them to a ruler and demonstrating how I used that technique to align the power unit caps and the power unit domes so they would be properly configured when mounted to the bottom of the Galileo winglets. So I'm going to show you what I've done so far with the actual shuttlecraft. First of all, I did not. Let me rephrase that. I glued the upper hull to the lower hull. Okay. It would be cool to be able to lift this off and see the interior. Just not enough of the interior that looked impressive enough to me to want to build it that way, because the upper hull fits sloppily on the lower hull. There's no particular type of a latching mechanism, no grooves, no tabs, nothing. It just kind of flops down on top of there and it doesn't look good. You have to fidget with it so that it looks right, and I didn't want to have to deal with that. You know, I wanted to be able to pick this thing up, and if I wanted to fly it around the room, you know, I can do that. So however, like I said, I did glue everything in place in the interior so that if some future person were to get a hold of this kit and decide they wanted to open it, all those features would be in there. They're unfinished. It would have been cool if they had some crew members. You could have put the crew in there. That would have been really a nice plus. Maybe some more control panel features would have been nice. Some aft bulkhead tank and fuel configurations in the back would have been nice, but they didn't do that. You can get that, I believe, online through other individuals who have created 3D printed aftermarket parts. But I decided just to build this the way it was out of the kit, out of box. So anyhow, I'm going to give you kind of a 360 view of what I've done so far. Move this up a little higher so you can see it. I shot the upper hull with Tamiya white flat primer, shot the lower hull with Tamiya gray primer, and then I shot the whole thing with Tamiya flat clear coat. And that's the way it's going to stay. Just kind of like how that looks. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to see this, but let me grab a pointer here. On the bottom of these winglets or fins, I have a strip of masking tape. I'm going to peel this off in another video to reveal the raw plastic, and then what I'm going to do is then adhere the nacelle right to the raw plastic without having to worry about scraping the paint off. I'm going to attempt to video that separately and stitch that together. I've never done that before, so that'll be a first. Hopefully that'll work out okay. But yeah, spent a ridiculous amount of time getting the seams to look right. Oddly enough, just where the upper and lower hulls attach along this fin edge here, this winglet or whatever you want to call it. It was ridiculous how much time I spent actually making that look right. And I have to believe that some of you guys out there get a bit anal about how seams look, especially on a fuselage of an aircraft or a rocket. You don't want that to even show. And man, you can just go over and over and over it 100 times, it seems, just to get it to look right. It's crazy. And I don't even know how many times I went over that seam to get these seams to match up and to look good, and especially the back end, because it was a cluster on the back of this. It took a lot of work just to get it to look, as good as it does now, and it could be better. But you know what? At some point, you got to go, oh my God, I have to move on here. So I've been living at this stage of the build forever. So that's kind of where I'm at. Looking forward to mounting those nacelles. I'm going to paint them first. you know, with their respective colors, the dome and these features here. And then I'm going to mount them. But I'm going to, again, try to put together a separate video to demonstrate, you know, basically peel the tape off. Hopefully that'll peel off nicely and not, you know, tear into any of the paint that I've coated on there. There's been a few coats of paint on the bottom, so I'm a little concerned. I might score the edge of that tape with an X-Acto to be sure that it peels off properly, but we'll see. That'll be in the next video, and hopefully it'll stitch together and look good. Alrighty, and once again back to the Galileo 7. Located along here and along this top section here. I masked that off so that I can glue the nacelles to the bare white plastic. So I'm thinking I may have to score the surface where the tape interfaces with the paint so as to not peel any paint off. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not super worried about not getting an exact straight line because it's going to be upside down when mounted. You're not going to see anything anyhow. Then the cells will cover this whole area. My hope is to just score enough paint off the surface here so that I can successfully remove the tape. That's the hope. The music you hear in the background is the Icarus Foray by a band called Immersion Theory. Okay. Not really sure how this is going to play out, so I scored along this length here. Could be better, could be worse. You know, anything's going to happen here, and probably will. I'm going to try to pick the edge of this tape if I can get it picked. This is blue tape. Got a little bit of the corner started up here. I'd love to be able to get it all off in one strip without it tearing. Trying to get enough of it kind of peeled up here where I can do that. Using an Ulfa silver for this process. I use an X-Acto to get the initial scoring and to pick the edge. Now I'm going to this Olfa silver to kind of get a more broader blade underneath that and lift up the whole strip like that. Now, let's see here. My hope is that when we get to the end here, it just pops right off and it doesn't peel beyond the line of the tape. So I'm going to take it easy. There we go. There's the tape. Here's the there's that area where the nacelle is going to attach. That is going to be this nacelle right here. Will fit right on top of that, like such. And any reveal that I have, I'm going to make sure it's on the back side, and then I can touch it up with a little bit of gray paint. So anyhow, that will give me an opportunity to give a nice bond right to the plastic, like such. All right. Alrighty, the Galileo 7, resting on her nacelles and foot pads. I'll take you on the 360 tour here to show you what that looks like. Grab this from behind here. Generally pretty pleased with the results. Took forever to get to this point, off and on, but generally happy with it. Built it just the way it came out of the box, didn't add anything particularly new or 3D printed. The only thing I'm going to be adding that's going to be new are the decals because they yellowed. Other than that, it's as it was. The foot pads, they don't come with any markings on the bottom of the nacelles as to where to put them. So you have to measure and find center on the step, turn it over here, find the center in these nacelles, the center line, drill your holes, fit the part to be sure it fits well. I used tester's glue because it didn't set up right away. Put a little testers on the tip of the struts, kind of screwed it into the hole, and turned it over on its base like this. I set it down, slid a couple of emery boards stacked on top of each other under the back like this, and put a level on it to be sure that the vehicle was in fact level. Made sure the struts were not tilted in any one particular direction, and let them sit overnight. Turned out really good. So, and this back strut here kind of makes me laugh. It looks like they scabbed that off of a 1/96 scale lunar spacecraft model kit. It's spindly and it's got a round foot pad, of course. That's not correct. Anybody that watched Star Trek and watched the Galileo 7 episode and just went online and looked at pictures of the original knows that that's a rectangular foot pad, and it's got a far more robust strut with the hydraulic cylinders and stuff really visible. This is a pretty cheesy representation, but hey, that's how they made it, so that's how I built it. So what I got left to do is I have to mask off this area here and then spray these windows. I wish they would have just made that as a decal part, I mean, they got these for the back end of it, these little black spaces here, these black little things that go onto the back end of the shuttlecraft like that. why the heck not just make the windows? I never could understand that. That bugged me even as a kid. These decals, as you can see, there's 2 yellow, so I'm getting a new set. I bought a set previously, and as you can see, the fonts just aren't close enough. This is a condensed font style, and it's bold, and this is not. So well done, beautiful, beautiful work, but just not really close enough to the original for my liking. So I picked up another set from another manufacturer. I forget their name, but I'll identify that in the next video. But I'm pretty much just a decal and a spray job in the front, a mask and a spray job away from finishing this thing. So that there, and the decals, and let's see what else. I think I have to do something with this step. Oh, the doors. Yeah, I've got to. I think I'm going to outline this door. Let me show you here. The lines on these doors here, I'm going to probably outline them with probably a pen. I should have thought about that before I put this nacelle on, because it's going to be a real challenge to get that door outlined below here. I may not even do that. We'll see. See how brave I get. If you screw that up, now you're talking about having to do a lot more work. So anyhow, guys, there you have it. The Galileo 7 just about complete. Thanks for watching.